The computer is going a little bit slow. So let's see. I'm not going to optimize it. Okay, let's see. Oh wow, it's doing it on its own. Cool. All right. Okay, this is the, so in case there are people who are watching who have not seen that, then they know what it's about. So welcome to Raising Happy Kids Zoom Show, episode 25, the importance of the one rule to raising happy kids. During this 1-hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony and knowing one need to create strategy from 3-year-old, I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. I'm glad you're here. Now let's have Q&A and discussion. Okay. Oh no. It says my microphone and speaker are not working. Oh dear. I don't know what to do. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's working now. The message went off. Let's hope it's working. Okay. I was going to have a guest on today, but they are having trouble with Zoom. So I thought that I would share the last issue of the magazine. But before that, I want to cover a few things concerning the importance of the one rule to raising happy kids. Okay, one of the first things I thought of is kind of an obvious thing is that people do want their kids to be happy. Another thing which I thought of during this week was that my work, even before when I was focusing on the power of respect, my work is very foundational. there are many positive approaches nowadays to raising children. When I first started this, there were not. Hardly any, actually. Maybe one that I can think of at the moment. But now there are plenty. However, the one rule is something that, even though it didn't have a name when I started doing this work, now it does, but the work was done. For many years, this approach has been used to help kids feel good about themselves and work well together and with adults. So using the one rule, it's very clear, very simple, and very effective, and you can use it in combination with any other parenting approach, especially positive ones, but even other ones, because I would encourage you to, if you are not used to using some form of positive parenting, that you give the one rule a try. I think you will find that everybody gets to have a good time. You do too, and things go so much smoother. There's no time spent in struggling with each other over anything. So, and it makes life much more enjoyable. And now that so many people are home so much of the time, spending time with each other, I think it would be very beneficial for everyone. And I have not personally met a child or a young person who does not appreciate this approach. It helps bring out the best in them, and I think in everybody. So I think those were the two main points I wanted to bring out. Let's see. I'll do a screen share again. I'm going last month's magazine with you. I have a flip version of this, but I'm going to share the actual version that I worked with. Okay. Raising Happy Kids in Harmony, that's the title of the magazine. This was the first issue. A friend that I work with fairly closely made this little graphic, which I put on the cover. The one rule, rainbow of happiness under love is emerging. There's a term for those things. I know my kids did them in school. We did not, so I didn't learn that term. Okay, let's see. First, there's a listing of what we're going to cover in the magazine. And there weren't any letters from, or notes or whatever, messages, let's say, from readers. But this next issue, which is going to be coming out before the end of the month, is going to have a couple of responses from readers. The first thing was introducing the one rule, how it came about, and why and how it works. I think I'm going to share that here. Apparently, our brain is hardwired to answer questions. When we are asked a question, our brain immediately begins searching for an answer. The one rule is like asking our brain a question, so it immediately begins searching for an answer. We ask how we can find agreement. That's how there is so much. That's how there is a direct connection to the 108 tools, skills, and strategies that help solve the problem. Now, those, I had written a list of all the, I called them tools, skills, and strategies. Tools is like a hammer is a tool. Skill is how you use it. And strategy is when and how you use it, because there are different ways to use some of the tools. So I was going to participate in a meeting, and for that, I went through and I counted, and it turned out there were 108 tools, skills, and strategies. So that's what that's about. Okay, let's see. Here's an article contributed by Brian G. Kasparidis. So if you get a copy of that magazine, they are free and available. Now, if you go to my website, www.happykidsco.com, I was just thinking, I have not put the magazine on that mailing list, but I will take care of that in the next few days. So if you do go and sign up there to get messages, and then that is one of the things you will get is the PDF version. And if I can manage it, technically, I will include the flip version because it's kind of fun. Okay. Brian wrote something about my latest book, The One Rule to Raising Happy Kids. And one thing I really liked was when I started utilizing Ryce's suggestions with my 30-year-old daughter and my 3-year-old granddaughter, I noticed amazing results immediately. So I'm really glad about that, Brian. Then this section is Harmony with You. One of my focuses is being in harmony inwardly. I've meditated for over 50 years. And so it keeps growing and getting better. So I share some things there. I have one-on-one work you could do with me called The Cave of the Heart. Then I talk about the House of Children. That's the Montessori term for the class, I guess you would say. So ours was Children's House, Beginnings Children's House in Northern California, still going. Started in 1973. Still going, still has a waiting list. People have their babies and get on the list. This is if you need clock hours. Brian and I have a project together. You can check this ad out. This is for people who need certifications. This is harmony with 2-year-olds. Working in harmony with 2-year-olds is one of my specialties. And so there's some of that about that in here. And there is also a training available for that. This is an article submitted by Batul Kazmi of Harmony with Women. These are my 2 daughters. One of them was pregnant at the time. And now has one of my grandsons. If you want my help to go from not having a good time to having a good time, you can contact me. We'll see what we can do. Harmony with Fathers, preparation for pregnant father. This is one of the stories from my first book, Parenting for the New Millennium, creating friendly families through the power of respect. Let's see. Maybe I'll share that story with you. Wow, Daddy, Michael hit me. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry you got hit. Let me hold you. Dalen is determined not to give in to his first angry urge to punish Michael. He remembers that first his daughter needs comforting. He holds her and strokes her hair. He also remembers that there are always at least 2 sides to any story. I just wanted to get my toy out of his room. He's had it for a long time and I want to play with it. I didn't want to go out of his room until he gave me my toy, so he hit me. Let's go talk with Michael. Dalen takes deep, slow breaths, inhaling and then being sure to exhale to calm himself. As he walks slowly to Michael's room, he knocks on the door. Michael, we would like to talk with you. What do you want? Can we come in, or would you join us out here? I can hear you through the door. I'd feel much better if I can see you. I'm not going to hurt you. Dalen remembers to keep sharing his feelings and needs and to speak respectfully to his son. This was the time of the power of respect when this was written. Okay, come in. Thanks, Michael. I need to tell you that it upsets me when you hit your sister. She hit me. Well, you didn't tell me that, Claire. I don't like you to hit him either. He wouldn't give me my toy. It's special. I don't like it when you hit each other to try and get what you want. You hit us. You're right, Michael. I used to hit you, and I'm very sorry I did. I thought it was the right thing to do. Now I know it was wrong, very wrong, and I promise never to do it again. Oh, all right. I guess I won't hit her anymore either. Here's your toy, Claire, but don't come in my room without my permission. It really makes me mad. That's why I wouldn't give you your toy. Okay, Michael, I won't come in your room without asking you. And Michael, I won't hit you either. We'll be a no-hitting family. Yes, Claire, that's exactly what we are. Thank you both for working this out so well. I think we have a great family and I love you both. Actually, that kind of goes in with what I was saying earlier about using the one rule instead of punishing. Here's an ad for Brian's one of his books, his latest book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get my books on Amazon too. And here's something on grandparents and harmony. Maybe I'll share this with you too. Adult children. I recently read your book. Oh, what this is from? There was a time when I had a newspaper column for about a year. Every week, people in the community would give me questions, or I would ask them, different people, if they had questions. And then they allowed me to answer them in the newspaper. So that's what this is. This was sent to me. I didn't actually solicit it. Okay, I recently read your book. I regret not knowing about respecting children when I was raising my children. They're all grown now. I wish I could do it over again. You can, in a way, by creating respectful relationships with your adult kids now. Sure, you may not be able to affect their fundamental development. That was finished with the end of childhood. However, and now I'm not so sure about that. That was a belief of mine at the time, especially from Montessori. So now with certain practices, I think it's possible to make fundamental changes. However, if you change the way you think about them, speak to them, and relate to them, you can transform your present relationship, heal past wounds, and create a satisfying, fulfilling relationship with those grown-up kids. It can be a wonderful experience for you both and fulfill your desire to have raised your kids respectfully. It may take as much work and transformation on your part as if you had started when they were small. First, you need to become aware of how you treat your kids and what you need to change in order to be respectful toward them at all times. Now, I guess I would change this to using the one rule, but this works also. They need this as much as you do for their own self-esteem. Just as you can change, so can they. It can help your process and that of your adult kids if you talk about it with them. Depending on your relationship, let's get back up here. Depending on your relationship, they may or may not believe you. In any case, it brings your commitment even more to the forefront of your awareness. This can speed up the process for you and start the process for them. Even if they don't believe you at first, if you persist, they will be convinced. In general, all kids, even adult kids who've become estranged from their parents, love their parents and would prefer a mutually respectful relationship with them. It can help to remember that much of the behavior of parent and child is affected by old stimuli. Many interactions are just playing out previously established behavior patterns. Your beliefs, which were formed in your past, still guide today's actions. It can take time and persistent effort to reform your belief system to the point where the new beliefs form your experiences. As you change, new elements are introduced into the patterns. As you change, the changes are reflected in your experiences. As you become more respectful, that respect is reflected back to you from others. To understand the kind of dedication and determination needed for this change, it can be helpful to think of a baby learning to walk. No matter how many times they fall down, they do not become discouraged and give up. They may take a break, but they return to their practice until they have mastered the ability to walk. Besides sticking with it, it can also be helpful to practice patience, patience with yourself and patience with others. Remember the power of forgiveness and do what you need to do to keep your self-esteem strong. Notice the changes. You and your adult kids have better self-esteem, freedom from the strain of always being right, freedom from the guilt of hurting your kids, satisfaction in discovering win-win solutions to problems, more energy for adventures, inner ones and outer ones. It is a wonderful, enriching experience to share a relationship with your adult kids full of mutual respect, admiration, love, and trust. It is never too late to become friends with your kids. This is something that my mother wanted me to share with people. This is, she had radiation treatments, and this is how she kept them from being painful. And a disclaimer is that this is a true story, and it's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It is just my mother's story. Okay, let's see. All right. Then harmonious answers. This was suggested as one of the parts of the magazine. And since at that time I didn't have current readers, this was the first issue, I didn't have any questions. So I took a few of the questions that had been in the newspaper and I put them in here. Chores, and empowering. This was, maybe I'll go through this one. This was a mother's question. I am very interested in empowering my youngest daughter. Do you have any suggestions? Now, this first quote was in the newspaper at the head of the articles. In this column, the readers offered practical, respectful options leading to win-win solutions to the problems arising between adults and children in everyday life. Okay. So this mother wanted to empower her youngest daughter. It can be easy for a younger child to develop low self-esteem because everyone else in the family seems to be more capable, stronger, faster. Since these qualities are often valued, let me do that. I can do it faster and we're in a hurry. You can't play, you're too little. That's too heavy for you. If you have found this to be the case in your family, you can help her by noticing what she does do well. Point this out to her and encourage her to do these things, even if it takes longer or is not done quite right. I love it when you're so kind to our kitties. Thanks for weeding the flower bed. It helps a lot when you put your dirty clothes in the hamper. Thanks. She may not notice what she does well and may not give herself credit. She may value herself as the baby in the family, being weak and letting others have power over her and her life. Whoa. Encourage her to do what she loves. Help create these opportunities for her. When she wants to try new things, be as positive and supportive as possible. If you say anything at all about it, be sure to be encouraging. Place emphasis on the attempt, the process, and not the results. That was a great try. Your throwing arm seems to be stronger than it was last week. Keep up the good work. We all make mistakes, especially when we're learning something new. Mistakes tell us what we need to change to do it better. Results improve with practice, with repetition, with improving our technique. When value is placed on results, too often we become discouraged and quit when our first attempts don't give the results we want. Be sure you practice win-win solutions faithfully with her. Take the time, make the effort. This tells her that she is worth this time and effort and that you value her input and her needs. When a decision involves her, be sure she agrees with it too. Now, this wouldn't be a problem with the one rule because agreement is the rule. This might mean that she is involved in the decision-making process, though not necessarily. And the one rule, more likely. If you do make a decision which involves her without discussing it with her first, perhaps letting her know what went into the decision will be enough to make her feel good about it. However, if she is not content with the decision, be prepared to revise it until it is agreeable to both of you. That really does fit in with the one rule. Let's see. Guilt. Okay. What do you do about your guilt and remorse over past parental mistakes? That's easy to have. Forgiveness. It can help to remember that at the time, given who you were, given the information you had, given your circumstances, you did the best you knew how. Ah, yes. Now, with different information, different circumstances, a different you, you parent differently, and some of what you did in the past looks like mistakes. Maybe it was, but it is past. Perhaps you gave your children the chance for greater compassion because of what they suffered. There might be lessons they needed to learn, and what you did was part of their learning them. Think as positively as you can about what has already happened. Be your own best friend and always give yourself the benefit of the doubt. At that time, you did not think you were committing mistakes. Maybe you weren't. You might also check with your children, even if they are now adults. If they agree you committed parenting mistakes, ask them for forgiveness. Ask if there is anything you can do now to help repair any damage you may have unknowingly done. Then do it. Ask them to help you make sure that you don't continue any of the mistaken parenting patterns you started in the past. Okay, I'm going to share this with you too. I'd already decided. This is the end of the magazine last month. My final gift for now. My pattern interrupt. One of the most valuable practices I've come across recently is what my inner guidance calls pattern interrupt. I mentally repeat a positive phrase silently in my mind until I am done. I knew that pattern interrupt is a term used in NLP, but I didn't know exactly what it meant. About a week after I'd been practicing my pattern interrupt, I learned from a friend who knows about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that pattern interrupt is a technique that you learn to use on other people. You say something that interrupts a pattern they are displaying. I can see how that would work, and that's why I call this my pattern interrupt. because it is not used on someone else. This is just for me to use on myself, to interrupt my patterns. When I find myself feeling a way that I don't want to feel, I use my pattern interrupt until it just fades from my awareness. Then I discover that I'm feeling a way I like to feel. I also use it when I find myself thinking thoughts that I know are going to make me feel ways I don't want to feel. I repeat the phrase in my mind until, well, it usually just stops on its own. At some point, I become aware that I am not using it anymore and my thoughts don't bother me. Soon after I discovered my pattern interrupt, my sister told me that she had started using a mantra she created in a class she had taken. It seems to have a similar effect for her. So it seems that you can find your own phrase. Mine is a phrase, word, sentence, mantra that suits you, and use it to change your state of being. May all kids grow up happy, and may the one rule be a blessing in your life. Okay, now, right now, I'm not right this minute, of course, but I'm in the process of putting together this month's magazine. I think what I will do at this point is, okay, I'm going to share another thing with you. Well, since it started out here, let's try that. This is a bonus if you get a copy of the One Rule to Raising Happy Kids. It includes old work that has been revised in terms of the One Rule that I felt would be really supportive of your using the One Rule. And it includes, resume share. And it includes let's see. I wonder. Okay. Okay, what is this about? Maybe I have to do a new share. Okay, maybe, yeah. All right. Okay, since it started on this, I decided I would go ahead with it. This is my working copy of the One Rule to Raising Happy Kids, which I was telling you about that it's my work from the past that I feel would be supportive of the one rule, of you using the one rule, and it includes a training, a 12-lesson training on using the one rule. You don't really need all of that. You only really need one, but this is in case you want some more support, more understanding. Really, if you just start using it, you can gain all of that, but I'm putting it out here for you. And this, which was the bonus training, as you can see here, the harmonized fast formula, it actually contains some of the parts of what became the one rule. It was created, this was the training that was created just before the one rule came about. And let's see. So when we do that, I haven't done this for a long time. There are 3 sections to this training. Okay, the harmonized fast formula can work simply, quickly, as long as you remember to adopt a positive respect mindset. This is what makes the strong foundation. This is the bridge between hearts that ensures that it works easily. Remember the 3 elements. We are each important. We each deserve to have what we want. And we can use positive respect to help this happen. Now we would say we can use the one rule to help this happen. So the first level is called the lightning round, and that is just getting clarity on things. Misunderstandings cause many problems. I have witnessed this too much in ordinary conversations. Clearing up possible misunderstandings is the first round of the harmonized fast formula. This is the fastest and easiest round and the beginning point. Sometimes simply, clearly understanding what the people involved want and don't want, mean and don't mean, untangles the situation. Like the following story of the 2 sisters and the lemon. You may have heard this story already. 2 sisters lived together far from town. They didn't talk about it, but each was planning to use the lemon in the refrigerator the next day. In the morning, they both went for the lemon. When they realized that they both wanted to use the lemon, each thought that she would let her sister use the lemon. When each ended up explaining why she wanted the lemon, it turned out that they could both use the lemon. One sister wanted the juice for lemon water to do a 1-day fast. The other sister wanted the zest for some cookies. Imagine how many solutions might be discovered with simply understanding what the people involved want and don't want. It is important to be sure that communications are clearly sent and clearly received. It might not be good enough to assume that they understood you or that you understood them. it may be necessary to confirm the understanding. I heard you say, for example, I heard you say that you only want the lemon juice. Is that right? Or, so you want me to, for example, so you want me to use the lemon? Or, did you mean, for example, did you mean that you only need the lemon zest? Once there's clear understanding, if a solution is not discovered, at least you come out of this round knowing what each person wants. And so you do have a clear understanding of the goals. Level 2 agreement round. Pretty interesting. Here's agreement showing up. In this round, the first idea that everyone likes is the solution. So this is really the one rule. That's all you really have to do, is find a solution that everyone likes. Simple. Now, okay. I was going to say, this is what I learned from 3-year-old children. Children have a very easy time with this. Once they realize that this is a requirement, that's the rule part of it, and that it is an option that is possible, then it works so well for them. It's only when you have some kind of resistance, like you don't really believe it's possible, and if you haven't practiced it, you might have this kind of resistance, and then it will be more difficult. But if you are determined, you can do it. So let's see. Okay, this is what I learned from 3-year-old children. They easily and almost instantly adopted a positive respect mindset once it was introduced to them. They were introduced to the 3 elements. We are each important. And when I did this the first time anyway, I pointed to each person. You are important and you are important. And you each deserve to have what you want. And we can, at the time it was power of respect, we can use that to help it happen. Once they realized that this was something that was going to happen, they were going to have to find a solution that they both liked in this case. It came about very, very quickly. I didn't even have time to suggest my practical possibilities, like take turns, use a timer. They came up with the idea. Well, one of the little girls came up with the idea right away. This was over a swing, and she figured out they could swing together. And the other little girl liked that idea, and so they did, and that's what they did, and they solved it, and it went well. Now, if you don't, in this case, if you didn't come to some kind of solution, then there's another round of exploring, and this I've included it in the training on the one rule because it can be helpful to go through these steps. And the third one is you each get a chance to explain why you like a possible solution or why you don't, because by this time you will have come up with some. And getting that information can bring about a solution. So, well, that's as far as we can go today. I wish you all a great week, and um, try the one rule and have a great time with your kids.